Mike Ridley.
Clarence Blaisdell.
Nice to meet you, Clarence.
We didn't get the introduction yet.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Identify him.
Okay, I'm Mike Ridley, editor of the Messenger, and we're here today talking to Clarence Blaisdell. You're going to share some of your memories of serving. How did it start for you?
Well, it started in 42. I was going to school. I come home at noon, my draft notice is there. The day before, I'd went down and already enlisted in the Marine Corps. So I took the draft notice up to the draft board. They canceled it.
Yeah.
Well, that was in December 15, 42. In January 1943, I went to Paris Island. And then went through 7 weeks boot training. And I went to Norfolk for a shipment. And then I was there 2 weeks. They shipped to me to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And I was put into at that time, it was Fleet Marine Force unit, coastal artillery. And I was with them until June or July. We got our battalion colors, so they named it the 13th Marine Defense Battalion. And I stayed with it till the war ended. And while I was there in Guantanamo, I was in the coastal artillery outfit, 6-inch 50s. And we had guns on Leeward Point. I'd go out there on outposts for a month. And I was on Woodward Point. I'd go there for a month. And then I'd go out to Escondido Bay, which is another gun emplacement. And I'd be out there a month. And that's what I was doing. And when I was back to the base, I was doing normal guard duty.
Yeah.
And ammunition dumps and fuel docks and supply areas.
Now, when you're out in the coastal artillery, what were you doing?
I was powder.
And what is that?
You have a canister that the powder comes in. It's a metal canister, about the size of a soft drink canister that you see in the restaurants.
Yeah.
You take the powder bag out. The shellman puts the powder or the shell into the chamber of and then he hours bore it clear and you put the powder bag in. The gunner closes the breech and he puts a primer, which is about, well, maybe 30-06 caliber primer, blank. Puts that in, and then the captain of the gun, he's got a pair of field glasses that is graduated so he can get the azimuth and the height and trajectory. And he'd hour point, and the point setter and the traversing, the guy that steers the gun, it's all manual, nothing automatic, it's all manual. And they'd hour point, when they hour point, the gunner would pull the line and the gun go off.
How accurate were those guns?
Well, the guns were off on a 1917 Cruiser. So this is back in 43, 44. But all we was more or less to protect the Guantanamo Bay in case of sub attack or something like that, because we had subs, convoys off Guantanamo were coming in from New Orleans, coming through the Panama Canal, and join up and go to North Africa for the Mediterranean area. And they were at nights, you could see flashes on the horizon, which is roughly 20 miles out. If you saw a quick flash, that was an ammunition ship. But if you see a big flash and it still glows, you know that was a tanker. And that's about it.
Did you ever have any kind of contact with?
Well, the only contact we had is when Italy surrendered. We had 2 Italian subs come in. 2 destroyers, no, 2 PC boats and a PBY went out, escorted them in. And they'd been at sea for over a year. But I found out later that they had these tramp steamers that were supplying them. from South America. So I don't know whereabouts in South America the ships were coming from, but they were supplying them with fresh food and ammunition.
And you brought them into Guantanamo?
Yeah. Then the American crews, after a couple of weeks, took the subs far. I know they went to New Orleans. That's the last I heard of them.
Yeah. How long total were you down there?
Well, I got there right after Easter Sunday of '43, and I left there January of '46. But I was up and down. On the way back, we had to stop at Puerto Rico and pick up some soldiers, and then we stopped a couple other St. Thomas. We stopped there, and there's one other port we stopped and picked up some more soldiers to bring them back for a discharge. And we come in New York Harbor, and the old lady was standing up there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and just as the mist was rising off the bay there. And she looked good.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in 3 years.
Yeah. What do you remember about Cuba? Did you get to see any of it other than the base?
Well, one battle area there was Cusco Wells. That was a big cemetery, military cemetery. Another one was Escondido Bay. Another one was San Juan area, where Teddy Roosevelt's, and then Santiago, the old Spanish fort at the entrance of Santiago Harbor. And we spent most of our time right in that sector.
Yeah. It's not a place that people get to see too often today.
No, there was, well, in '43 there, we got our battalion colors, 1,300 Marines, and a defense battalion. What they did, say like you was an outfit, and you had casualties, they chopped down 500 of our men and give to you. And then maybe 6 months or so later, they take 250 and give to somebody else when they need a replacement.
Yeah, so you saw a lot of men.
And at the end of, I was one of the 250 left. And some of the fellows, I got letters from that were in Tarawa. One officer there, I can't remember his name now, we all liked. He got hit when he hit the beach and he lost an arm. That's the only one I ever heard of from the outfit.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and when I come back to the States for discharge, I was a week in Brooklyn Navy Yard, Marine Barracks there. They shipped me to Bainbridge, Maryland for discharge. And when I'm in Bainbridge, the first night, my squad leader, I hadn't seen him in 2 years, was there, and he still was a sergeant. And he'd been all over hell. He had more ribbons on than fruit salad.
So you came back in '46?
Yeah, January '46.
And you came right back to Beeville?
Yeah.
Now what did you do after that? Did you have family back here?
My father was in bad shape, so I went to work at Halco's. And I didn't like to work because I was pulling slag in the melt shop. And then I went to work for the village on the water department, and I was in an auto accident. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you can't do any more construction work. So I belonged to the Moose Lodge. And the secretary says, 10 bar. I said, I don't know anything about 10 bar. So I went to work part-time 10 bar, and I worked at it for 25 years. And then the doctor, after 25 years, the doctor says, you got to get out of here. There's too much stress and your legs are bothering you. So I went to work for the school for 13 years. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I retired when I was 62.
You have any other family around the area?
I have one sister left. She's in Florida, down around Dade City there. And I have several nieces and nephews around the area. Up on Van Buren Road and the old Route 31 by Connors Road there. And then up in Bundyville and just out of Fulton.
Have you ever had any contact with anybody from the Marines?
Just one. It was Glenn Young. He lived in Syracuse. And he was with me right up to when we got discharged. And I haven't seen him in years. He got married and then something happened, and that's the last I've seen him. I don't know if he's still living in Syracuse where he is. I've looked through the telephone directory, but never could find his name.
Yeah. Now, as far as your years in the service, anything you remember about that that's kind of sticks out in your mind?
Nothing special. The only thing I can remember, I was fishing off an Escondido Bay there in the bay. I was all alone in an old rickety rowboat. Here comes a sea turtle up right at my bow. Oh, he scared me. He's big as the boat was.
Yeah. Have you ever been back down in that area at all?
No, I've always wanted to take that trip.
Yeah.
Hit all the spots where I hit one.
The islands. Yeah. Well, you still got time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's thanks for talking to us today, Clarence.
Thank you.
I think we're all set here.
All set?